So here we are. It's only been 50 years since we've seen one another. This is kind of an update on what my life is like in the more recent years. And I look as demonic as ever. Would you have recognized me in a crowd? This is Stephanie, my lovely wife, but certainly not my arch rival. We met in Austin, Texas, Memorial Day weekend in 1997. And then we spoke on the phone for 4 months or so, finally seeing each other again at the August celebration in Oregon, mid-August of course, and we became engaged at that time on the Half Moon Bridge in the Japanese Gardens in Portland. So I guess we didn't believe in long courtship. Liberty it is. Here I am in Las Vegas with Stephanie. We went there to promote her and her dad's book, The Art of Business. Afterwards, we went to Zion National Park. And this is our newest member of our family, Tequila, whom Stephanie liberated from an animal shelter in San Antonio, Texas this last year. And here we're doing one of my favorite sports up on Grand Mesa, which towers over our farm some 2,000 feet just to the northeast of us. And this is Tether, no longer with us in body, yet very present all the same. She was my constant companion for 7 years in her first lifetime with me, and 17 years on her second go-round, just having gone to higher realms in the year 2000. Howling, of course, is one of her favorite activities. Here we are in Yellowstone, one of her most wondrous hangouts, where she enjoyed hobnobbing with the buffaloes. Stephanie in Lake Klamath, Oregon, where super blue-green algae comes from, this being our friend Brian's sailboat, and a once-a-year adventure for the last 17 years or so for us. When I first moved to Boulder, Colorado in 1969 from New York City, this is the house I moved into, the one on the right, that is. And then, subsequently, I bought both of these houses in 1972 for a mere $19,000, sold them again in 1979 when I had decided to go to Boston to study Chinese medicine. And at that time, we got $60,000, which financed our whole experience in Boston. This is the current owner who likes to do business out in his front yard on his cell phone, of course. I looked it up, and this was actually Block A of the city of Boulder on South Street, on your right, was platted in 1894, and this house was here at that time. This is our present form of travel, Goliath, with canoe on top, taken at Crater Lake, just to the north of Lake Klamath. This is when we started hunting for our farm in 2001, having decided Boulder was much too crowded for us anymore. So we started looking in Ouray and the surrounding valley to the north, ending up in Olathe. Ah, it is me again. I suspect this was taken at Crater Lake. Stephanie is a lover of horses, so this is the Christmas present I made for her last year, a horse staff on a bamboo shaft that she can use as a shaman's staff. And I should mention that thanks to her wonderful talents, it is how this whole presentation has gotten put together, because I certainly couldn't do it. Our farm in Olathe on 5 acres, fully irrigated, lots of water, and shaded by 5 giant globe willows, which is one of the reasons that we chose it. The Volvo, for many years my expedition car, is still going strong with plus 540,000 miles on its original engine. The gardenette in front of the house, filled with sunflowers of all kinds and varieties, including Jerusalem artichokes, which of course we eat. The tuber, that is. Whereas these are actual artichokes, muchly resembling prehistoric plants, and they indeed did bear fruit. Here she is with horses and hay barn in the background. And again, our garden and house and more sunflowers. Looking west, and you can see the underground water system that we installed where we pump irrigation water out of the side yard ditch into all our different hose systems for garden, yard, and some of the pasture. Our ancient barn in the back. Mostly we use it for storage, and within the next year or so we're going to replace the whole thing with a very adequate garage, apartment, and so forth. This is looking toward the south from our front yard. My woodworking shop and the horse trailer. Did I mention that I've been a professional cabinet maker for 15 years in Boulder? Barn, slaughterhouse as it was called, we think for sheep, and our new yellow barn. It's wonderful living in a small town where we can ride our horses, or in my case, my mule, Caledonia, to the post office. And yes, we do have local parades. So here's Stephanie on Bella, our first Mustang from the Wild Horse program in Canyon City, and Karen, our down-the-street neighbor, on not a Mustang. And now my most honored parents-in-law, Ray and Priscilla, who have indeed become my very best of friends. Even though when we first got engaged, they were certain that I had put a spell on their daughter. And of course they had not as yet met me. Another of our favorite places is Capitol Reef in Utah. And here we are at the Swimming Hole Waterfalls with Pooh, who is also now in the large animal place of the sky. She was Stephanie's Sheltie, and of course Caddis, or Luna as her original name was, getting her annual bath. And she also came from an animal shelter. San Francisco, Fisherman's Wharf, and a fine restaurant with Priscilla. We're very fortunate to have 2 condos or apartments there just above Chinatown on Taylor Street, which is just up the hill, a very long and steep hill where we are from this restaurant. Doesn't one always butter both sides of one's bread?